Kudlow, low taxes and less regulation works, doesn't it?
Sure does.
I mean, it worked under Reagan, it worked under Clinton, it worked under President Trump. Is that right?
That's correct.
Doesn't matter if Democrats cut taxes, Republicans cut taxes. It doesn't matter if the Democrats reduce regulations, Republicans reduce. It works for everyone in our economy when you do that, right?
Yes, I like to refer to the JFK tax cuts as working for the economy, a Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, tax cuts and less regulation are nonpartisan, and they help everyone. Were wages up during the Trump economy prior to COVID?
Wages rose at record pace, especially for middle and lower income folks. That's what the numbers show from the Census Bureau and the Federal Reserve.
Best unemployment numbers in 50 years, best economy in 50 years under the Trump administration prior to COVID. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, and this was true for any subgroup in our economy: Hispanic Americans, African Americans, poorer Americans whose wages were rising faster than middle class and upper class individuals. It was good for every single person in our economy. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. Poverty fell, inequality fell. Mr. Jordan, the bottom 20% had the single largest gain in income and wages and wealth. The
lowest quintile, fastest growth we've ever seen. And we need to get back to that. So what's going to help our economy more, Mr. Kudlow? Letting Americans go back to work or paying federal workers to stay home?
Well, the key here is just unlocking and unleashing the economy and getting these vaccinations out. That's the single best stimulus we can have. We're looking at an economic boom if we leave taxes low and leave regulations low and stop destroying the fossil fuel energy business. We are looking at an economic boom right now. You could have 8 or 10% growth in this year.
But Democrats are getting ready to do all three of those things in the wrong direction. They're getting ready to raise taxes. They're making it difficult for us to use fossil fuel, and they're going to increase regulation under all kinds of climate change rules or whatever. They're gonna do all three things wrong. They're getting ready to do that, and that's going to have harmful effects for our economy, and most importantly for the poorest people in our economy. And in many cases, those happen to be African Americans, Hispanic Americans who are trying to climb the economic ladder. Is that true?
I have severe misgivings about these policies. They will block, obstruct recovery. And you're right. It is the lowest end folks who will be hit the hardest by this. Just on one easy point quickly, energy costs are going to skyrocket if we take out.
They already are. They already are. I mean, someone sent me a picture. They said, never cost me $48 to fill up my car during the Trump administration because gas prices are already climbing, which again, disproportionately hurts middle class, lower class Americans today. Mr. Kudlow, do you remember the first Green New Deal? Do you remember that plan about 12 years ago? This was Solyndra, Beacon Power, Abound Solar. You remember that first Green New Deal that we had?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well because every one of those, I think there were 26 different companies who got money from the taxpayers. Most of those companies had a credit rating of BB-, and every single one of them went bankrupt. I don't think that really helped our economy much. But that was the first Green New Deal. Now we're getting ready for a second.
I think it's always unwise to try to pick winners and losers. I think the private sector does it best. Let markets and competition work. Put these industries on a level playing field. Look, I'm not against renewables. You're not either.
I'm not either. Right.
The question is, let's have a level playing field and expand our energy portfolio. We need power to drive the economy. If you take away 75% of our power in the next 5 to 10 years, which is what some of these policies are suggesting, it's going to be a disaster. And not only will it be an economic disaster, it's going to strengthen the hands of our enemies overseas, particularly Russia, particularly Middle East, particularly China. We will be devastating our foreign policy as much as we'll be devastating our economy.
Is it time to get back to work, get back to school, and get back to normal, Mr. Kudlow?
Yes. End the lockdowns. I think we made a big mistake. We went way too far, too long on lockdowns. And that's why, by the way, the low-income industries have been hit the hardest. I don't disagree with that analysis. I'm just disagreeing with the cause of it. It's the lockdowns that were the problem here.
States that let people go back to work, states that remained open, largely open, have done better than states that haven't, both economically and maybe more importantly, or just as importantly, on any health measures as well. That's what we need to get back to.